P. Ross, how's it going, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm actually doing fantastic. Guess who's sponsoring the show?
Who?
Chrono 24, baby.
What? The Chrono
I
24?
the Chrono 24. I told you
Oh,
I bought my
wow.
watch, my Omega Speedmaster to them. Is this like 2 years, 2.5 years ago?
Yes, I
Amazing.
remember that.
Yeah, well, the buyer protection, you get to have your watch collection right there virtually. And not only that, it actually tells you what they're trending for, what they're selling for. Now, this really cool thing called the watch scanner, where you actually put it on your wrist. It's a piece of paper, you print it out, and you can virtually try on any watch. And of course, they have a virtual showroom.
Mm. Wow, that's incredible. But don't they also have screened and approved
Yeah,
dealers?
they do.
Global worldwide shipping, customer
I did.
support 24/7, available in 22 languages, new, used, pre-owned, and vintage watches?
Yep, and
Come on,
the
man.
plethora of watches they carry is incredible. Rolex, Omega, Patek, Cartier. I mean, you name it, man. All the big brands are there. So yeah, I recommend it because I've used them.
Absolutely. And if you looking for a watch, hit the link in the description. We have a question from a fellow content creator, Dale from Mr. Ace Productions.
Oh, cool,
Wants
man.
to
Yeah.
know the top 2 to 3 tips for growing a YouTube channel.
By the way, Adrian, if you haven't checked out Dale's channel, Mr. Ace K
Oh,
Productions,
I do. No, I talk to him quite a lot. He's a dude. Yeah, he's a cool
man, we
guy.
had him on the
Yeah.
show. I don't even know how we became friends on Instagram, and he is the reason why I bought. I don't know where it's at, but he's the reason I bought my SPB 143, my Seiko, the one that looks like a 62
Yep.
MA as that case. He had it, and I saw these amazing pictures, and I'm like, holy crap! So we became friends, which is interesting. He's in Australia. We had him on the show. He's actually a commercial pilot, which is super cool. And yeah, he knew you were going to be on the show, and I'm like, you want me to ask him anything? And I know one of the things that we always talk about is growing on YouTube, and especially him, man. I mean, his production level is insane. So I'm like, how do
It's
people not?
incredible.
How is your show? Oh, how is your YouTube channel not any bigger? And we just can't figure it out, you know. So he wanted me to ask you, what P Ross said, 2 to 3 tips for growing on YouTube.
It's tricky because it's so deep, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You can have killer content, but it just doesn't get seen. And if you there's a guy called Nico. I don't know if he's making it over in the US, but he's huge over here.
Oh yeah,
He runs.
we know Nico.
Oh, right, cool.
Pride
So
opinion.
here's Pride and Opinion. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
his content, his presence is a brilliant case study of how to do social media. If you want to grow quickly, that's how you do social media, is by jumping on other trends. If you're a nobody and you want to get recognized, you need to tap into someone who is a somebody. And so what he's done is he's made content about big celebrities. And so if you Google, I don't know, Kanye West, it might just happen that your video pops up as this is Kanye West's watch collection, or what he would say is watch expert reacts to Kanye West's.
Watch expert, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone wants to hear from an expert. And so regardless of whether you are or aren't an expert, it doesn't matter. Have that in your title, and then that people will immediately see you as a person of authority within whatever. And reaction videos are huge, and then celebrity videos are huge. And so that collection together, and also he's very characterful.
Oh man.
He's
Yeah.
he's a larger than life guy. He's another. I've spoken to him a few times. He's another cool guy. And so, but that's how you do it. If you want to build that kind of audience, I admire massively what he's done, and I've learned a lot from his journey of what he's done. I feel my journey is very different from that because my focus isn't growth. I want to improve quality, and I want to understand the algorithm myself. So if you create interesting content and you're able to shoot good content, you have good audio, but it's just isn't popping off, you have to look at the kind of factual things about YouTube. So your thumbnail has to be enticing. You have to have your face in the thumbnail. The ratio between people clicking on a thumbnail and not clicking on a thumbnail is all down to the face and your facial expression
Really?
within it. Yeah, and that's why I have my face in my thumbnails. I hate it. I spend more time creating the bloody thumbnail than I do sometimes just editing the video. I hate having my face in the thumbnail because for me, it's not about me. It's about the watches. But by me having my face in the thumbnail, I'm saying, oh, it's about me. And that's not what this is about. So I hate that, but I have to do it. The other thing is a title. So within the hierarchy, the thumbnail is the most important thing.
Okay.
The second important thing is in the title and then the description. But you have to have a short, punchy description that is full of keywords that people are searching. So it's hard to kind of narrow it down to 2 or 3 tips. We could have a whole book on this. But there's if you're creating content that you think is great, but it isn't popping off, there's a factual reason why this isn't happening, and it will be down to your thumbnail, down to your title, or down to the searchability of what you're doing. Essentially.
So what you're saying is just put why Rolex sucks in the title. It should get you a lot
See,
of views.
see that if you did a video why Rolex sucks with a big surprise face or really angry face and maybe a broken Rolex or something, that would just kill. My first video that went kind of popped off was how to get a free Rolex, and I remember posting that when I was going on holiday to Belgium, and I got scared at how quickly I got like 30,000 views in the first like couple of hours of it going live. What? And I was shitting myself. I thought, what have I done? Is someone paying for views and adding them to my account? Well, this is just scary. This isn't fun. But yeah, that video just went crazy. I didn't realize it would go so crazy. But that's when you kind of figured out, oh right, so yeah, clickbait stuff does actually work.
That's crazy. AP Ross, we need to go re-examine every single one of our videos, change every thumbnail to make every title very
the analysis of what other people do is crucial if you want to succeed in social media. And that's why Pride and Pinion Nico is so fascinating, is because it is just the perfect concoction of how social media is done more. He has brilliant editors editing his videos. He has a great marketing team behind him creating these titles. Everything that he does is strategic, and it's a brilliant kind of snapshot into how to do it right. And I find it absolutely fascinating.
He's in Scotland, right? He's in
Ireland. So he's just over the water from us.
Got it. Yeah, find out. I don't know if you know about this guy, P. Ross, but Nico. So Nico, along with Anthony and I forget the guy's name from the Gray Market, Timepiece Gentleman. They're all like friends, and it's a completely different way what they're doing than what we're doing, right? They basically are creating like a vlog style video, like an hour long.
Yeah.
It's almost like watching like a something on TV. I mean, the way they do it is so interesting, and I've been watching them. I don't know why I'm binging on these things for like an hour, and it's interesting to see the behind the scenes, how they buy these crazy expensive watches and trade them, and you see their lifestyle, and they're traveling, they got Lamborghinis, and you're like, that's a cool lifestyle. Not for me, but it's cool to watch, and it's cool to see that it for me personally, watches are very personal, and I love them because I'm a watch collector. And that's another thing we could go into, how social media affects the way that the watch collectors think, right? You want to go on the hype train, you want what's next, you got fear of missing out, all kinds of weird stuff. But at the core, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, I love watches for what they are and what they represent. And when I see these guys on, doing their show, whatever, they don't treat watches how we treat watches. They just see dollar signs. In out. I have it, I could get it. It's all about money. So from a business perspective, it's cool, but from a watch collector's perspective, it's kind of interesting to see that they're only promoting RMs and APs and the expensive Rolexes and stuff like that. I'm like, I wonder if they would ever feature a Seiko or a Casio. I mean, Nico loves Casio, God tier. I get it, it's cool, but it's different. I mean, but it works. They're growing so quickly. And I think their goal is like 1 million subscribers for all these guys. So we'll see. That'll be really interesting. So
they'll most definitely make it because their content, and that's the same with Nico. To grow and blow up on any social media, you need to find a niche, build within that niche, but also create content around that niche that everyone can look at. So coming back to like the Kanye West watch collection, you don't have to be a watch geek to watch that video. You could be a Kanye West geek, or you could just be a pop music geek. It doesn't matter. So many people will watch that kind of video. Whereas if you go into the detailed history of the Rolex Submariner, that's just going to be watch geeks looking at that. That's not going to be popular culture stuff. And it's the same with Anthony and Roman. Their content although is around watch dealing, it's just business and it's luxury lifestyle. And so many people tap into that. And also they're jumping on such an interesting trend of YouTube videos have reduced in length massively, but now it's kind of bouncing back to long form content, Netflix style content, where you have a whole series. And the interesting thing around their editing is you can jump in and out. You don't have to watch all 30 minutes or 1 hour of a video. You can jump in and watch 10 minutes at a time. Yeah. And that's how they're getting such massive views, is that they might get one viewer might watch a video in 4 or 5 different segments. So you're getting 5 views for that whole video from the one viewer watching it. But you can, because it's not just one long watch review or one topic, it's multiple little topics, you can jump in and out. So it's really interesting analyzing and kind of looking at what they're doing.
Yeah, I know, for sure. Cool. For sure, man. So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting how videos, like you said, it went from being short to now super long, and they're becoming super popular. So, but I mean, for us, it'll be difficult to make a long video just because we don't have that kind of lifestyle, right? You have to do more vlog style. You have to have something interesting, right? Well, here is my family. Nobody cares, you know. I'll care about something, but yeah, I guess. Look, at the end of the day, just do what you love, and if it grows, great. If it doesn't, then you're doing what you love, you know. So
exactly, and that has to be I guess if that'd be the top tip is do what you love. This stuff takes a long time. It takes a lot of work to do it, and you want it to be a hobby. You don't want it to be a job. As soon as it feels like a job, then it's game over, because you're not going to get the returns that you want from this. So you're absolutely right. Make the content that you want to make. If people watch it and enjoy it, game on. If they don't, it doesn't matter. You're just having fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, this podcast is a perfect example, right? It hasn't blown up. We're not huge, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I love talking to P. Ross and collaborating with them. And we love talking to people like yourself. And that's the reason why every week, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I wake up at 6:30 in the morning on the weekends because I have a 5-year-old son and he makes a lot of noise. And I want it to be as professional as I can. So that's why I wake up early on the weekends. Do I want to wake up early on the weekends? No, I want to sleep in and I want to be with my wife. But the cool thing is we finish this and it's barely like 8:30 in the morning. They're barely like waking up, and it's like I've already been working for over an hour, and then I try to edit and everything when they're kind of not when they're busy, and you know, I try to find time. That family time balance is really difficult, Adrian. And I mean, this is coming from a person that has a full-time job, you know, and I do this YouTube, this podcast. It's just like, and I have a Spanish channel too. So it's like, I don't even know how I find time, but sometimes I do catch myself, not spending enough time with the family. And then I look back and I'm like, man, I'm going to regret this. You know, my son is little, and when he gets older, I'm probably going to look back and say, why didn't I spend more time playing with them as opposed to playing on YouTube, you know? But that's a different story. It's
tricky. It is really tricky. And it's easy to get stuck in I get stuck in the mindset of, but I'm building this for the family. Yeah, I'm not. I'm building this for me. It's me and my ego. It's me and the chip on my shoulder of people telling me that I'm stupid. I want to prove everyone else wrong. If it was for the family, I'd go and have a 9-to-5 job and come home, and I'd be around for the kids. And so it's a real tricky thing to balance, because it ultimately does take you away from family time. But at the same time, I want to be able to provide for the family. I want to be able to send the guys to a good school. I want us to be sorted. So it's
right on.
Life's hard, man. Life's hard.
Yeah. Very hard.
No, it is pretty hard. Well, with that said, let me ask you. I guess we've talked about growth and obviously you introducing new products to your website. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where is Bark and Jack in 5 years?
Well, I haven't thought that far ahead. There will be some sort of watch selling element, whether it's new watches or old watches. There will be some sort of dealership element to the company. My biggest passion is essentially two things, which is why this has happened: is watches and making content, whether it's photographs or videos. So I'd love for there to be a watch selling element, and for there to be a bigger content creation element. I'd love to be able to, I don't know, have watch companies as clients and go out and make videos. What that looks like, I don't know. But essentially, it's just what we're doing now, but just bigger and having more people involved. I'm a control freak, which is why we haven't got anyone else involved up until now, but it's kind of got to the point where I'm throttling the company if I have to let go of some of the control if we're going to move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Interesting.
let's look at let's take Teddy Baldessar as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy. I mean, now it gets a little tricky though, and I've been wanting to hopefully get that guy on the show and ask him, how do you how do you make a watch review of a watch that you're selling? Because it's almost like Hodinky, they're reviewing watches they're selling, and I don't know how it comes across, right? Because is it really a review or is it more of a commercial now? Because you're trying to make money off of it, you know?
Yeah, and it's tricky, but you can also flip the viewpoint from, are they making the video to sell the watch? Yeah, probably. But why are they wanting to sell the watch? They're probably wanting to sell the watch because they think it's a great watch. So Hodinky don't sell all Timexes. They don't sell all Tudors. They handpick what they want to sell. And this is the model that I can't speak for Teddy. Got a lot of love for Teddy. We chat a good amount. But my viewpoint would be, let's say I became an AD for Oris. I wouldn't sell every single Oris that they do. I'd handpick what models they do. I would then in turn make a video about a new Oris that came out. That would, of course, be an advert for the watch, because I'd say, you can buy this watch over at barkandjack.com. It does become murky because actually I don't think it does become murky. I think it just comes down to how you go about it. I don't watch Teddy's video. I don't watch much watch content at all. I don't watch Teddy's video. I don't read Hodinky, so I don't know how they go about talking about their products. But I think it's just about being clear. If you make the viewer aware that you sell this product, and you put it across too harsher selling, then you're going to lose your viewers. But if you are honest about the watch, then I think there's no issue there. But
So
no, sorry,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say it's all about perception and how you go about it. There's a reason there's lots of different watch channels out there, and there's a reason there's lots of different watch blogs, because there's different characters and different viewpoints and different ways of engaging with the product. I think people connect with me and my channel because I'm just a normal guy. I'm not trying to be a watch expert. I'm not trying to be a watch guru. I'm just a normal guy that, like you guys, just talking about something that I'm interested in, with very little financial return. I talk about my straps, but I'm not getting paid by the watch companies. And so, but if you want a more technical viewpoint and perhaps a colder viewpoint, you can go watch Tim Mosso. But then at the same time, Tim is talking about watches that he sells. And so he's always positive about a watch. And so there's different viewpoints from all over the place. I think as long as what you're doing, you're authentic about it, I think you'll carry on going forward. It's when you try and deceive people, that's when things go wrong. And with Hodinky, or whatever they do, people are going to hate it. They're the biggest. They are the kings of watch blogging. And so whatever they do, people are going to be upset about it. They can't win, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I guess the difference would be someone handpicking what they review and they actually like, versus just taking on anything that they get, right?
Yeah, that exactly sums it up. And also, when you guys all know this, when you make a video about a watch, let's just take Oris. Oris launched a new Diver 65. We all do a video on it. We all love it. We all rave about how cool it is, and it's a nice £1,000 watch that looks absolutely awesome, has a solid movement inside. We've done all the hard work. Oris reaps all the benefit, or the AD down the road, the little watch shop in the mall, they get all the sales because we've all spoken about it. So, and we're just the dicks who've done all the hard work for Oris. So why don't we benefit from it? So it's easy to criticize Teddy and Hodinky for what they do, but at the same time, it just makes commercial sense that if they like a product, why don't they profit from liking it? I think that's better, or perhaps the same as getting paid from the watch company. Oris could turn around and say, Adrian, here's, I don't know, 20 grand, make a video on the Oris Diver 65. I could do that, or I could just sell the watch and probably make more money than that. It's tricky. It is really tricky.
Makes sense. I guess at the end of the day, with this whole YouTube thing, people need to realize that a lot of time goes into this, and we need to be compensated somehow. Now, I think we all agree that is wrong. If you get something and you personally don't like it, but you're just trying to promote it because you got paid or because you know you're gonna get paid, then that's
Yep.
when it's interesting, you know. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, we're not big, but we've been offered free product, you know, from people, and I've turned down a few because it's like it just doesn't align with me. I wouldn't
Yeah.
personally wear that, or I don't like it, so why would I get it for free or get paid when I don't like it? Like I have a job, I don't need to take that thing, you know. It's just pretty
There's
interesting.
a watch guy. There's a. I won't go into too much detail. I had a Zoom call with a guy who essentially offered me 300 grand
No,
yeah to review but advertise their watches, and that's a lot of money, man. That's
that's a ton of money.
yeah,
Hey, can you give
that'd
me
be a
his number?
game changer.
I'll review his.
But it got to the point of I just couldn't do it. There would be an amount of money, but it just feels weird. It would just feel weird. Just
What do you, let me ask you something. What do your wife think about you turning down 300,000?
oh yeah, I haven't told her. She would say just do it.
Hopefully,
what you
she
doing?
doesn't listen to this episode. Don't tell her about this. Don't tell her about this.
But this guy said that was a conservative commission that I would receive for the video, and I said to him, well, if that's commission, I don't work on commission. I don't like commission. If I'd make 300 grand commission, why don't you just give me an outright payment of £100,000 and sorry, dollars, $100,000, and I'd make the video. And he said, yeah, okay, we can do that if it's just a straight payment rather than commission. I said, I take $100,000, you keep the extra $200,000. I don't need that. You have that, and he agreed to that. 100,000, 300 is a lot. Still, $100,000. That is still a huge amount of money for one video. We're talking about. We're not talking about a series of videos. This is one video,
That's
and
crazy,
so
man.
it's easy to see how people would get sucked into doing fake positive reviews. The watch is dog shit. It's not a nice watch. It's not something that I'd normally talk about. $100,000 is a lot of money still. Oh, I won't do it because it's just not, the money isn't a focus for me. The funness, the authenticity, the credibility, that is so much more important to me than $100,000. And so it's really tricky to kind of to navigate through that murky world. And it also, on the flip side, I would understand if someone turned around and said, hey man, I've just made a video talking about this dog shit watch, but I've made it sound positive because I got paid this much. That is a huge amount of money for anyone.
It's a lot of money.
It's hard. It's a hard
Yeah,
world.
a lot of people in the world don't make $100,000 a year, so
No, exactly. Let alone for one bloody video.
that's crazy. All right, man. Well, we talked
Very
about a
tempting.
lot of things, but we're in the part of the show when we talk about other things. I mean, it could be watches, it could be anything else, but this is just us recommending things or us talking about whatever. So take it away, Adrian. Whatever you want to talk about or whatever.
Oh man, that's big. Let's talk about. You touched on it earlier a little bit. What are your thoughts on the whole social media kind of influencing
Not good. Not good
the
to be
watch
honest
game?
with you. Not good to be honest with you. I fell for that trap with the Q Timex. I'm sorry because
Right.
I know you love that watch. I still have it. I haven't sold it just because I know I'm gonna take a loss on it and it won't be much. It'll be $50 or something. But I'm like,
But that's
it
a
actually.
perfect example of it. That is a textbook example of how social media can just create this kind of snowball effect of just everyone saying, "Oh yeah, that's great." But it's just based on Instagram shots, right? You probably
Yeah.
didn't try that watch on before you bought
No.
it, and because it's cheap, relatively cheap, right? It's still money, but it's comparatively cheap. It was easy for everyone to jump on that bandwagon. So yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
example.
no, for sure. And I mean, and that example is a $179 example. But now think about Patek, think about Rolex, think about
Yeah.
these watches that are so unattainable, and people just see them on the gram and see them on YouTube, and then I saw a thumbnail. Somebody put a picture on Instagram of the new OP, the Tiffany color and the yellow and the whatever, and you see the retail, you're like, oh, 6,000. All right, that's actually really good. But then you see what they're selling for, 17, 18. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Who in the right? I showed my wife. I'm like, you want to see something? She's like, no, that's fake. Nobody, who's gonna be paying that? And I'm like, there's dumbasses out there. I'm sorry you call it that, but there's people out there buying it. It's like, well, who? I'm like, there's people with money. I mean, that's clearly not us, but there's people with a lot of deep pockets out there. Like, they don't
Yeah.
care. They want it and they want it, and it's fear of missing out. It's I want to be cool. I want to get a lot of likes, and I think it's wrong, right? Watch collecting. I would have loved to be a watch collector in the late 80s, early 90s when watches weren't really a thing. I mean, you could pick up some Mariners, probably they will give it to you. Like, nobody
Yeah.
wanted them, right? But now it's like you
Hmm.
can't even get them anymore. And it's all because of this fake hype, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. Watches have become, I've been collecting for going on 7 years, and I've definitely seen the progression to where it is now, where it's like I really aspired to get a Rolex, and not because of the brand, but more because I grew up in the 80s seeing that iconic design and I really
Hmm.
wanted one. But now the more that I think about it, it's like, man, do I really want a Rolex? Like, I don't know. I don't want to overpay for a Rolex. I see more value in Tudor, like a Black Bay 58. Like, I might get into that just because I see for 3,000, dollars pre-owned, I see a lot of value there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man, but yeah, social media is just killing watch collecting, in my opinion. P. Ross, what do you think?
I really try to stay away from. I look at people's collections and that's what they do. You know what I mean? And I try to stay
Hmm.
away from what other people do. But like with the Timex thing, right? I think the Q Timex, I thought it was great. But I think what happened with the Q Timex was Timex had such a recently a great run of releasing good watches. Like they brought back the Marlin. I know the Falcon is one that don't nobody really like, but a lot of people really like the Falcon. You know what I mean? And then they had a couple new automatics that came out. I think they had one with a green dial. What was the Navi? Was that the name of it?
Right. And then
Yeah.
they
So
introduced the automatic series. Well,
right.
here's a message to Timex. I think you're using that Q Timex case design a little too much.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe tone it. Maybe let's change it up. I mean,
Like
you got the
Yeah.
Marlin. You got so many cool heritage
right.
pieces, and
Yeah.
maybe it's time to kind of let the Q Timex die
It's
for a
like
little bit.
remember the Q Batman. Remember we reported on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then nobody believed it. Like, but then it came. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, I try to stay away from like if I look at someone's Instagram, that's them. They doing what they like. I'm gonna do what I like. You know what I mean? Because when you get caught up in the hype and all that, you kind of want what everybody else got, and I don't really want what everybody else got. I kind of want what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good for you,
Yeah.
but you're very unique in the sense that most of the people are sheep. It's true,
Hmm.
right? They
right,
see
right,
whatever everybody else is rocking,
right.
and they want that. They want to
But
be
ain't
cool.
that's where misery come in at, where people get miserable and
Yeah.
because they can't have what somebody else got. Nuh-uh. I'm happy with what I got. So
It's good mindset. Good mindset.
Yeah, no,
it don't
absolutely.
work all the time, but more than half it does. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, and I
I'm
know
still
that
human. So
I know that this community with like I think clothes and shoes is worse than watches, right? P. Ross, like
yeah,
the
yeah,
new
definitely.
Yeezys and the new Jordans
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Yeah.
kids getting in
yeah.
line and killing each other for these
Right,
things. That's
right.
probably even worse.
Go
So,
on Flight Club, pay thousands of dollars for sneakers. I'm like, no, I don't
well, how do
think
you
so.
think they view us, the watch people? You guys are stupid. How much are you paying for that?
Yeah,
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
You
Let
paid
me ask you,
$300 for a watch. What?
that's a lot. 200 for a watch? Whew. Let me ask
Mm-mm-mm.
you something, Adrian. So I know I'm making an assumption. You like Seiko. I don't know if you love Seiko. What are your perceptions on Seiko normalizing in their price? I don't want to say moving up market because we had Mark from Long Island Watch and he told us they're not increasing their prices. They're normalizing their prices. They're trying to get the gray dealers out. What is your perception on that about Seiko selling for a little bit more?
Yeah, it's tricky, and I think the community is a reason for it happening. A lot of things like the SKX. I bought my first SKX for I think about £90 or something, and they go for about 270 now or something crazy
No,
like that.
more like in the
It's
300
really.
range. Yeah, it's
Oh man,
crazy.
that's ridiculous. So and also they're launching, or they have launched, Grand Seiko grade watches just with the name Seiko, and they're Grand Seiko prices. So it feels really quite weird. They've separated Grand Seiko from Seiko, officially separated them.
Right.
But then it feels like Seiko are like, oh, right, so we no longer have a premium watch model. So let's create a premium watch model. So it's like they've separated Grand Seiko from Seiko, but now they've just made Seikos that are Grand Seikos just without the name. And so that whole side of it just feels really quite odd. I have no concern about Grand Seiko upping their prices or launching watches which cost the same as JLC, because I think they are worth it. The build quality, the attention to detail, the mechanics, they're killing it with their models. So it kind of just makes sense that they're doing that. But with the straight Seikos, I kind of think that they need to be careful, because they are, we're all fond of them, or the majority of the community are fond of Seiko because they're the brand where you get an awesome watch that's got heritage. We know the bezel's not going to align. We know the chapter rings are going to be a bit off, but you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
If they start playing around the prices too much, they're just going to be overpriced for what you get, as opposed to being a bargain. But I wouldn't say I'm a Seiko expert. I do like what they do. I guess kind of mainly Grand Seiko, but got a lot of time for them. But they just need to be careful that they don't mess it up.
Yeah, we love Seiko. So yeah, Seiko, don't mess it up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Adrian, where can people find you? I mean, it's kind of, I think everybody knows where to find you, but do you want to plug your stuff?
Just at Bark and Jack on everything: Instagram, YouTube, barkandjack.com. I think that's it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Where can people find you?
Ross Wristwatch Love everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check out the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast, Facebook page. Balling out of control.
Cool.
Out of control.
Well, you can find me SoCal Watch Reviews on YouTube and Instagram, and Relojeando is my Spanish channel on YouTube. Do the same thing as the English one. I just speak Spanish. So, and my mom is a fan. She subscribes to the channel. My sister too. So I just wanted to say it. It's true. It's true. But she's still telling me. She's like, I didn't like the other. I called her this week. She's like, you know that video you put out? I'm like, yeah. I didn't like what that guy said. The way that he said it, he seemed kind of like he didn't like you or something. I was like, Mom, that's the internet. It's just, it is what it is. And
what was
I'm not
it, a
even
comment?
that big, so.
What was a comment?
It was people in the Hispanic world, man. I mean, number one, the messages they leave are super long. It's like an essay, like they're writing. I don't know why, but everything's like super long. And they disagree with everything, right? Like, no, you clearly, there was a guy telling me, I'm sorry, my friend, that wasn't a review. That was a commercial for the company because you got it for free. And I was like, great, here we go. Another one, you said some things in English. So if you're going to do Spanish reviews, don't use English. I'm like, oh God, okay, here we go. You know, it's things like that just nitpick everything. And the English ones are not as harsh, but the Spanish community, man, woo, they want to crucify me. What's going on?
That sounds hard, man.
But anyway, well, everybody, thank you so much for listening, for watching. Adrian, thank you so much for the collaboration. We really do appreciate it. And
guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we look forward to having you on hopefully in the future when you're at 200, 300,000 subscribers. You will get there in no time. So
thanks, man.
All right, guys, stay humble.